Welcome to Payback with Silas. Every day, a new story, lies, betrayal, payback. Let's begin.
He wasn't just my brother, he was my best friend. And he was the one who ruined everything. We built that company from the ground up, me and Emery. Just the two of us. Blood, sweat, and too many sleepless nights to count. It started in a rundown garage outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, where we poured concrete by day and mapped out blueprints by night. Back then, we had nothing but a second-hand cement mixer and a dream, to build homes for people who couldn't afford the big contractors. Emery was always the bold one, loud, charming, relentless. Me? I was the guy in the background, handling the books, making sure the permits were clean, the deals legit. We made a damn good team. 5 years later, Hollis Brothers Contracting was one of the fastest-growing construction firms in northern Arizona. We had a dozen crews, commercial clients, even city contracts lined up. I thought we were unstoppable. Then Mom died. That's when everything changed. She left the house to me. It was the family home, technically under my name since I was the one paying the property taxes. Emery didn't care. He never liked that house. But when we went to settle the will, he showed up with a lawyer and a cold stare. Said I forged the documents. Said Mom promised him half. It hit me like a sucker punch. We argued. For the first time in years, we shouted at each other like strangers. And I should have known then, this wasn't about the house. This was about the company. About control. A week later, I got a certified letter. Emery had filed to dissolve our partnership. No call. No meeting. No warning. He wanted me out. I drove to the site we were working on, a mid-range apartment complex in Prescott. Emery was there, barking orders like nothing happened. I walked right up to him and said, "What the hell is this, Em?" He barely looked at me. "Business decision," he said. "Don't take it personal." I didn't even recognize the man standing in front of me. Turns out, that was only the beginning of the betrayal. After Emery served me that dissolution letter, I thought there had to be some kind of misunderstanding, some legal mess we could straighten out. So I called our lawyer, Sabrina DeWitt, the one we'd used for years. She didn't return my calls. I drove to her office in Sedona and waited 2 hours in the lobby before her assistant finally came out and told me she was no longer representing me. Just like that. When I got back home, my email login for the company server was disabled. My key fob for the site trailers? Dead. Even the company credit card I used to fill the trucks, cancelled. I wasn't just pushed out. I was erased. I started making calls to the foreman, the suppliers, people I thought were my people too. Most of them ghosted me. The rest were polite but vague. "Hey Callan, I'm just trying to stay out of it," they'd say. "Emery told us there's a reorganization happening." Reorganization. That word made my blood boil. But the final blow came 2 weeks later. I got a notice from the county clerk's office, a request to transfer all business assets, equipment, property titles, bank accounts, into a new LLC. Not Hollis Brothers Contracting. Just Hollis Contracting. He dropped the brothers. I sat there in my kitchen, staring at that paper, hands shaking. That name, it felt like being buried alive under my own last name. But here's the thing. Emery was impulsive, sure, but he wasn't stupid. He knew I kept everything clean, every deal, every invoice, every tax filing. And that's when it hit me. He wouldn't have done all this unless he was hiding something. That's when I pulled out my backup drive. I used to make full copies of our project records every month, contracts, receipts, even internal memos. At the time, it was just a safety habit. But now, it was a map of breadcrumbs. That night, I stayed up till 3 a.m. digging through spreadsheets, scanned contracts, and archived emails. And right there, buried in a subcontractor invoice for a strip mall project in Cottonwood, I saw it. An $87,000 payment to a company I'd never heard of. A company with one employee. A company registered to Emery's girlfriend's name. Her name was Becca Morell. She was a yoga instructor when I first met her, nice enough, but definitely not in construction. And yet here she was, listed as a consultant, on a job she never even visited. That's when the picture started forming in my head, fuzzy, ugly, and real. Emery hadn't just forced me out. He'd been funneling money. And I had the proof. The next morning, I drove to the county records office in Cottonwood. Becca's company was listed as Morel Design Solutions, LLC, registered 6 months ago to a residential address outside Jerome, a tiny mountain town with more ghosts than people. I found the house. It was a rental. Peeling paint, overgrown yard, no sign of any active business, let alone one receiving high five-figure consulting fees. I knocked. No answer. I peered through a dusty front window, empty inside. Not abandoned, just unused. This wasn't a company. It was a front. I called a friend of mine from college, Lennox Rader. He worked IT security for a major accounting firm in Phoenix, and owed me a favor from back when I helped him get a contractor license waived for his first house. He helped me trace Morel Design's digital footprint. It was laughable. One hastily built Wix site, one fake business phone number routed through a VoIP app, and no verified clients besides us. Even better, Lennox helped me dig into the financial trail. And that's when things really got dirty. It wasn't just $87,000. Over the past year, Emery had funneled close to $460,000 into Becca's company. And from there, it had been routed into 3 more shell accounts, one of them linked to a holding company in Nevada, registered under Emery's name. You want to know what finally broke me? The timestamp on the first transaction. It was 2 weeks after I signed off on our first city contract, a $1.8 million affordable housing project in Prescott. My signature. My work. And the second those funds landed in our account, Emery had started bleeding the company dry behind my back. That was the moment I stopped feeling hurt. I felt something colder. More focused. He didn't just betray me. He used me. And now? I was going to use him. I knew I couldn't just walk into a courtroom with a pile of PDFs and a conspiracy theory. Emery was slick. He'd been prepping for this for months, maybe longer. If I wanted justice, or revenge, I needed more than evidence. I needed leverage. And timing. First, I contacted a woman named Therese Quinlan, an independent auditor who once flagged a corruption ring at a mid-sized development firm in Tucson. She had a reputation for going after dirty contractors. We'd never met, but I figured she'd take interest in mine once I showed her the trail. She didn't just take the meeting. She brought her own file on Emery. Turns out I wasn't the only one suspicious. 3 subcontractors had anonymously reported inflated invoices and suspicious change orders on city-funded projects tied to Hollis Contracting. But without hard proof, the county never followed through. Now they had me. Therese agreed to help, but warned me. You don't go public until we hit him where it hurts. Public contracts, reputation, and the one thing guys like your brother can't live without, control. So I played it cool. I called Emery. First time in 2 months. Told him I was willing to talk. Maybe settle things civilly. Said I didn't want to burn bridges. I knew his ego wouldn't resist the chance to gloat. We met at a bar in Camp Verde. Emery walked in like he owned the place, clean boots, designer denim, grinning like we were about to hug it out. I almost laughed. He bought us 2 bourbons, clinked glasses, and said, "Glad you came to your senses." I smiled. And lied through my teeth. Told him I had some investors who wanted to develop a parcel just outside Sedona. Luxury cabins, ecotourism angle, big budget. Said they needed a local partner with city ties and experience. Said I could recommend Hollis Contracting. You should have seen his face. He bit instantly. I dangled the numbers, $4.2 million in potential contracts, all private. No oversight. I even drafted a fake proposal. Lennox helped make it look airtight. Emery agreed to submit bids through his company. Becca's name showed up on the first invoice less than a week later. Hook. Line. Greed. Meanwhile, Therese and I were compiling a full portfolio for the Arizona Department of Procurement, the City Council in Prescott, and 2 local investigative journalists. Everything Emery submitted under Becca's name? Forwarded. Every dollar rerouted to a Shell account? Traced. He thought he was finally shutting me out of the next big thing. He didn't realize I had just opened the door to shut him down. It happened faster than I expected. Therese made the first move. She delivered the full report to the Arizona Department of Procurement on a Monday. By Thursday, Hollis Contracting was blacklisted from bidding on any public projects in the state. Their Prescott housing contract? Frozen. Payments suspended. Emery went ballistic. I know because he called me. Twice. I didn't answer. The next day, the Cottonwood Times ran a front-page piece. Shell companies, shady deals, Hollis firm under investigation for contractor fraud. They had everything. The fake invoices, the shell companies, the ghost LLCs, the money trails straight to Becca Morell's yoga studio turned consulting firm. They even ran a side piece. Business partner blindsided by brother's betrayal. That was me. I didn't give them that quote. But they weren't wrong. By the following week, the city terminated 3 contracts. 2 suppliers sued for breach. A crew foreman publicly quit on Facebook Live outside a job site in Cottonwood, holding a whiteboard that said, "Pay your people, Emery." It didn't take long for the IRS to get involved. By then, Emery knew where it was coming from. He showed up at my door one night around 10 p.m. Same pickup, but no swagger this time. Just silence. He stood on my porch, looking like someone who didn't understand how the house fire started, even though the match was still in his hand. He didn't yell. Didn't threaten. He just said, "You really did this to your own brother?" And for the first time, I didn't feel like yelling either. I just said, "No, Emery. You did this. I just made sure everyone saw it." He left without another word. Within 6 months, he'd filed for bankruptcy. Becca disappeared, moved to Portland, according to someone on Facebook. Hollis Contracting became a cautionary tale in the Arizona construction world. And me? I started over. Registered a new firm under a new name, Cedar Line Build Company. Clean contracts, good people, no family drama. I still drive past that old garage sometimes. The one where we started it all. It's empty now, windows cracked, grass growing through the pavement. But every time I see it, I remind myself of something. Blood might be thicker than water. But trust? Trust is everything.